Hey everybody, I'm Sean. Welcome to another episode of Angling Spiders. Welcome back everybody. On today's episode, it's going to be a bit of a mishmash of things, but I still decided I wanted to do an episode just to give you guys an update on what's going on here in Alberta. So for some of you who attended our live stream, and thanks to all of you that did, it was fantastic to chat with a bunch of you, and congrats again to the winners. But on that live stream, we talked about the fact that I had tried to go out fishing because it was beautiful here in Alberta. It was 20 degrees, close to 70 Fahrenheit. You can see that the weather has changed. Welcome to Alberta in the spring. We are under a snow advisory. It is freezing cold. It's supposed to be like this for the next 4 days. And so it's put a definite stop to our fishing plans. And so I am not going to be able to get out anytime soon, which means there will not be a fishing video today. I did get out on that nice day and went to the Bow River. And I did go out actually with a couple of other YouTube channels. There was a few guys there from the locators, and also got out with a new team from Nature Fellas. I will put links to both of their channels below. They did catch some fish. They were successful in catching a few brown trout and rainbow, and so that was fantastic. I did not have any that day, but I was introduced to some new baits from the Nature Fellas, and so I will show you some of the footage I filmed from that day. That'll come up next. Just making our way over to a spot here. Looking forward to seeing if we can bring anything in. Doing a little off-roading here now. Spot we're going to today is courtesy of the Nature Fellas. All right, you guys, you can see we're stretched out along the bank here, standing on the ice shelf that's still left here. A couple downstream from me, a couple upstream. Fishing some deep pools, you can see in front of me. Hopefully you can see that water nice and clear. A little bit of a deep stretch here. Also wanted to thank the Nature Fellas for hooking me up here with this crankbait. This is a hand-painted crankbait from CST Lures, so they were nice enough to give me one of these to try. Beautiful bait, beautiful, beautiful. Look at that paint job on that thing. Unbelievable. You guys, Mike's got one now from the locators.
That's a nice fish.
Yeah.
That's a big big fish.
Okay, so a little bit of footage there of some of the fishing. Even though I didn't catch anything, it was great to see that Mike from the locators was able to pick up a fish, and also the Nature Fellas. So may not have been the most successful trip for me, but I now know a good spot on the Bow River, and I know there's fish there. And it was also nice of the Nature Fellas to give me some CST lures to try out, and showed some of those off in the video. My favorite is this whitefish pattern. This thing is fantastic. It's the size of it is perfect for multiple species. I'm gonna love throwing this thing for pike, for walleye, for trout. So I'm gonna have to pick some more of these up from CST Lures, and this is a bait company that is right here in Calgary, so easily accessible for someone like me. All right. Also going to talk a little bit about the fact that it's time of the year again that our dollar store is stocking up on fishing lures. So I did make a quick trip there to see what they have. Now, one thing about our dollar stores for here in Canada, it's called Dollarama. The stock changes throughout the year, throughout the fishing season. So you do have to go multiple times. Their typical brand that they sell at Dollarama is Mako. We've been using Mako lures since we started the channel, particularly their perch swim bait is one of our favorites. So they did have the stock of Mako products again, and I picked some of those up, and I'll show you a few of the things I grabbed in a minute. But one of the things I did notice that's different this year at Dollarama that I've never seen before is they're selling Yum plastics. I haven't seen Yum plastics at Dollarama here before. I did look through the selection at the one Dollarama I went to, and they didn't have much that I was after, but in general, the price for about 12 soft plastics is $4 Canadian, which is the same as $3 American. I no idea if that's a good price. For those of you in the US, you can tell me if that's a good deal, but they had a pretty good selection. They had a bunch of worms, they had some grubs, and they had some craws, and they had a few salamanders. So there is some stuff there, but most of what I'd be looking for would be for walleye, and they just didn't have quite what I was looking for. If they had a chartreuse grub, I would have picked them up for sure. So I'll continue to look at some of the other Dollaramas to see what they've got on stock for Yum products, but I just thought I'd give you guys that update that they're now selling Yum soft plastics at Dollarama in Canada. All right, let me show you a few things that I picked up this year, and you can tell me if I got a good deal or not. All of it is Mako with the exception of one item, this glow shot jig. I mentioned in a previous video that one of our subscribers sent us a 3D printed bracket for these little light glow sticks, and the reason he made those was because he saw these at Dollarama and wanted to see if he could make something similar. I just happened to see that they still had these. I think they were a couple bucks. You get 2 jig heads, and there is a small slot in them that these little glow sticks fit into. So I'm going to be using those next ice fishing season to see if I can pick up some walleye. So I thought I'd pick some up while they still had them. As I said, everything else now is Mako. Picked up a couple of these rod lure protectors. So they're just a little Velcro pouch that wraps around your rod when your lure is still on your line. And so it protects everything from that hook that's still sitting on your rod if you don't want to take the hook off because you're just moving from one location to the next. So got a couple of those. As you can see, they were $3 each, cheap. Did pick up some soft plastics. These are 3 soft plastics in I guess a shad or a minnow type pattern. Silver with a chartreuse head and a bluey green scale pattern on the back. 3 to a pack, $2.50. It's probably a little bit expensive, but I really did like these soft plastics. These can go on a jig head and will be good for both pike and walleye. I got some of these really heavy jig heads. These doesn't actually, interestingly enough, does not have the weight on the package, but the reason I like these ones in particular is because the hook on them is really, really wide. Perfect for pike. I was using the chartreuse version of this for ice fishing, and this was working really good. So I wish they had the chartreuse one. I'm going to continue to look for that, but they did have one package of these orange jig heads. I'd say they're an ounce. They're heavy, but I'm not sure the exact weight. And you get only 2 for $3.50, so that's pretty expensive. But I picked these ones up just because I love them. And then lastly, the swim baits are back. They did not have the perch pattern. They only had this blue colored one, which we have also used in the past. But the reason we picked these up is because these swim baits are big, and we need the big ones for pike. And so this one's blue with a red tail. As I said, we've used this one effectively before. As soon as I can find the perch pattern on this, I'm going to buy every one that I see because this is our go-to soft bait, swim bait when the Len Thompsons aren't working. So got to get more of these. So there's just a few of the things that we picked up from Dollarama. For those of you in Canada, I just wanted you to know that the fishing supplies are in and the fishing sections are up. Again, these baits will change throughout the year, so you might want to go back multiple times, but it's a good way to stock up on some cheap stuff. We've been using these things now for 3 seasons. We have not yet had a lure fail on us, so they are not the most well-made things in the world, but they do work. The soft plastics get beaten up pretty good by a pike, so a lure like this probably is only going to last for about maybe 5 to 10 catches before the pike completely tear it to shreds. But they work, and so hey, helps you catch fish, and it's gonna go in the tackle box. Okay, so that's it. I am hoping this weather is gonna change in the next week here. It's supposed to do this for 4 days, and then it's supposed to get nice again. I'm hoping once it gets nice again, we can get back out there fishing. So hopefully there's a fishing video coming soon. We're trying, but the weather's gotta cooperate here. So we'll see how it goes. But in the meantime, if you guys like the video, smash that like button, hit subscribe. And until next time, good fishing.